Hi everyone! Welcome to this video, created using Gemini Notebook. I've gone through the AI-generated subtitles and updated the proper names to match the Bible. If you notice anything I missed, feel free to leave a comment.
David, the king of ancient Israel, oversaw a moral and political collapse that broke 5 of the 10 commandments in a single sequence. After the adultery with Bathsheba and the orchestrated death of Uriah, his administration and personal life entered a state of ruin. Contemporary readers frequently approach the resulting confession in Psalm 51 as a diary entry, a formless outpouring of raw guilt from a broken man. Ancient Hebrew spiritual repair followed a different set of constraints. The text is an engineered artifact, utilizing precise literary structures to facilitate a specific outcome. By mapping the poem's grammatical shifts and internal symmetry, we can observe the steps of this architectural blueprint for restoration. Examining the text as a schematic reveals the underlying theological steps required to reconstruct a fractured life. In its opening verses, the text avoids using a single, vague term for wrongdoing. The author employs 3 distinct Hebrew terms to categorize the failure. First is pesha, describing a rebellion or a legal transgression, a broken contract that creates an objective debt. The second term is awan. This refers to a distortion or a warp, describing an internal iniquity that bends human character out of its intended shape. The third is chatheth, denoting an objective failure, or literally missing the mark on a designated target. This lexical triangulation frames the moral failure as a legal debt, an internal warp, and an objective miss. Resolving a collapse of this scale requires a multi-layered, systemic solution. Hebrew poetry often organizes these solutions through chiasmus, an ABA structural pattern that wraps layers of text around a central point to emphasize a core truth. In verses 1 and 2, the conceptual flow moves from God's broad, steadfast love inward through specific cleansing requests to the central urgency of the stain itself. This concentric pattern expands to govern the entire first section of the poem, from verse 1 through verse 9. The outer rings of this structure, verses 1 to 2 and 7 to 9, consist entirely of urgent pleas for cleansing and mercy. These outer pleas wrap around verses 3 through 6. This central core contains the objective acknowledgments of the actions taken, stating the facts of the crime without the language of request. This chiastic structure anchors the emotional appeals for mercy to the central, unchangeable reality of the author's actions. The progression of the repair process is driven by shifts in verb modality. This timeline graph shows clusters of imperatives. These function as active commands or pleas directed at God to begin the work of purification. The grammar then shifts to indicatives. These verbs state unchangeable facts about the author's internal state. These indicatives frame sin as an innate structural condition rather than a simple behavioral choice. The author describes a corruption that exists at the level of birth and conception. The final shift moves into the promise verbs. These I will statements transition the focus of the text from private restoration to public utility. Tracking these shifts reveals a trajectory moving from a passive plea for help to a factual recognition of one's condition, and finally to active public restitution. The text employs a not this but that rhetorical device to compare internal disposition with external ritual. By referencing the hyssop plant, used physically in temple purification ceremonies, the author highlights the mechanical nature of the ritual while turning it into a metaphor for internal cleansing. This rhetorical move establishes that temple sacrifices are ineffective without the prerequisite of a broken spirit. The text then invokes the Hebrew verb bara. This term is used for divine creation out of nothing, the same action found in the opening of Genesis. Using bara indicates that moral repair requires more than a behavioral adjustment. It requires an ontological recreation of the individual. The final 2 verses pivot from personal confession to a plea for the city of Jerusalem. Historical critical analysis often treats these lines as a later editorial bridge designed to adapt a private poem for corporate use. The five-stage trajectory of the poem provides a thematic bridge for this expansion, moving from the micro level of the individual to the macro level of the state. The text links a monarch's internal spiritual reconstruction to the geopolitical and physical security of Zion. Psalm 51 functions as a unified liturgical engine, positing that corporate worship and national security rely on a foundation of internally recreated individuals.
Loved this video? Drop a comment below and be sure to check out the playlist for more like this.